Stories on the African continent with none other than Victor Kgomoeswana, author of Africa is Open for Business and Africa Bounces Back. He's also the Communications and Marketing Director at the Limpopo University. A very good afternoon to you. Good to have you with us once again, Victor.
Good to talk to you again this beautiful Friday, Thami.
It certainly is, and I'm sure you've also experienced the fact that it's really starting to warm up. Spring is literally around the corner.
Seizing already. 28 degrees in Johannesburg? Come on.
Look, we are appreciating the heat. I don't know if as much as Botswana is appreciating this $12 billion investment deal that they've signed with Qatar's Almonsu Holdings. Tell us more about the intricacies of this. We know Botswana has really been under stress recently with the decline of the value of diamonds and, synthetic diamonds now flooding various markets. This seems to be a glimmer of hope for them.
Yes, the GDP went down by 3%, and you've put it very well, because the lab-made diamonds are taking over the organic diamonds, or the ones that are mined. I know De Beers is trying to say, no, the value replacement value is better for mined diamonds than lab diamonds, but I don't think consumers are going to be paying more. That's why the market is dropping. But the $12 billion investment is supposed to go into many sectors: infrastructure, energy, mining, diamond refining, as well as agriculture and tourism, but also cybersecurity and defense. You cannot ignore those two, because we're in the digital economy, and the $12 billion coming from a diversified group based in Qatar, which has got many other investments in Africa already, is a scoop for the Botswana Development Corporation.
Looking at Zimbabwe, some rather positive news coming out there from the African Development Bank. They've projected that the country is on course to achieve a 6% economic growth rate this year. What are they attributing this projection to?
Yeah, and let me just say, if they achieve that, they would have outperformed their sub-Saharan Africa peers. That is more than 40, 46, 47 countries. So that is quite a scoop. They attribute this to something that many people never thought they would hear about Zimbabwe: stability and recovery in key economic sectors. And these are agriculture, new mining projects, manufacturing and construction. Now, when you hear this about Zimbabwe getting new mining projects and manufacturing recovering and construction being on the rebound, agriculture as well, you understand why there was the medium-term fiscal and monetary statement that was released on 7th of this month. If you remember, they said all accounts with a balance of less than $100 will have no tax, and then point of sale transactions that are equivalent of $5 in Zimbabwean ZiG dollars will not be subjected to any tax. They are trying to digitalize. The beauty of digitalizing, Thami, is that you have control of what's happening in the country, and you can report much better, which is why you hear them talking about fiscal and monetary policy stability, because now everybody is able to see on a computer screen from anywhere in the world what is happening. And the principal economist at the IMF in Zimbabwe is the one, Kelvin Banda, is the one who's saying the sound and fiscal monetary policy. Like I'm saying, many people will never have thought we would be talking about that because of the problems that Zimbabwe has been through. But that's the beauty of digitalization and globalization, that you become forced to take on a much better stance and be more accountable and transparent. And that's why you are seeing this kind of trajectory that will see Zimbabwe outperforming its sub-Saharan Africa peers.
I tell you what, Victor, if that really does become a reality, a huge feather in the cap for Zimbabwe, and one that would really be worthy of applause, because after decades of really being the stepchild economically, this would really be a good turn for them. And talking about the value of digitization, this may just be, good news for Mr. Digital Innovation, who've received an official approval from the Central Bank of Egypt to transform into the country's first fully digital bank.
Yeah, and I mean, Mr. Digital Bank Innovation is wholly owned or majority owned by Bank Metro, which is a 1920 bank. owned by the state of Egypt. It will be launching in 2026. But the advantage here is with the market share they have, because I think they have more than 500 locations. The shareholding bank. That will mean they will be able to reach. They are talking about financial inclusion, and if you think about it, digital inclusion means everybody can transact. The cost of transaction will go down, and that will be just good for everybody. Because Egypt, again, I repeat, is this frontier. It connects Europe, it connects Middle East, it connects Sub-Saharan Africa. So it is a very strategic economy because it connects those three regions. And because of the intra-Africa trade that's happening, but also the surge in investments from the Middle East, Egypt is a strategic economy. So for them to get the Central Bank of Egypt approval means one bank could end up being a major player. It's not from a small corporation that it is coming out of this. It's from a very big banking group that owns this MID.
And if we could, Victor, in literally 30 seconds as we wrap up this afternoon, talk to us about the importance of Ethiopia receiving this $4 billion in foreign direct investment during the fiscal year to July 2025. What is this from, and what is the significance of this?
The significance of it is that if you are having to restructure a $1 billion bond and you have defaulted on it, it's like you have a huge debt, Thami. You can't repay it, but at least your trading is increasing. So they are getting a lot of investment from overseas, and they are saying if we can just get the restructuring done, it means the investors are believing that although Ethiopia is indebted like most other African countries are, at least the growth of the economy and the influx of investments will be able to offset that. And all the investors want to know is that you will not be going into a country that will become bankrupt. It might be over-indebted, but it is at least the profit and loss of the country is working.
Investor confidence there rearing its head in Ethiopia. Victor Kgomoeswana, always a pleasure. Have yourself a great weekend. Thank you so much.
You too, Thami.
Thank you. That's Victor Kgomoeswana, author of Africa is Open for Business, and Africa Bounces Back, as we wrap up this week's edition